Make and Take Together. Today we're going to be making this beautiful spring tree. Hopefully you've gone by the Tallyn's Reach Library and picked up your supplies. In case you don't have them, let me tell you what we'll be using today. So first we have our outline that is the main part of our tree. This is just made out of foam core. It has 2 holes in it, and then there are 2 smaller supplemental pieces so that our tree has this really nice 3D look to it. The next thing you'll have are a variety of wooden sticks that we'll be using for support for the tree, some paint, paintbrush, plaster cast, green shredded paper that we're using for our grass, our bird, the selection of eggs and flowers to decorate our tree with. Oh, I almost forgot the most important part. The pieces to make your little tiny bunny butt at the bottom. Now the things that you'll need to provide at home are a hot glue gun, hot glue. You'll want to have a paper towel, maybe a couple paper towels if you're kind of messy like I am, a pair of scissors, and a bowl filled about halfway with some warm water. All right. Karen, tell us how we make this amazing spring tree.
The first thing that you want to do when you're making your tree is decide what you want as the front. Where are you going to put your tree? You can have it this way or you can have it this way. It doesn't make any difference. But where you're going to put it on the mantle or the table, you can decide what direction you want to have as the front, because this is definitely a front and back type of tree. After you've figured out which way you want to have it, you're going to turn it over to your back and put your supports in. These are the supports. These are necessary because you want your tree to stand up, and it actually is just large enough you're going to need some supports. So you're going to take your glue gun and you're going to put some glue on it, and you're going to just put them on so that you have some supports. When you get to like this situation, then what I would do is just take and cut, see if that's going to work. I think I'll cut that a little bit finer so you can arrange them at the beginning and see where they all fit on. But you want to put a lot of supports on the back so that you have the tree with its supports, particularly down at the lower part. You don't need to support as much up at the top. When you're putting your supports on, you want to make sure that you're getting it between. I see how this goes into this one, and this one I'm going to make sure that I have going between the trunk and this, because that's where it can break. All right, looks like we have a pretty good support system in there. I don't think I really need to use any of these thin ones. You can tell if your tree starts bending. You can always go back and put some of these on. After you get your supports in, the next thing that you're going to put in is you're going to glue your branches in. And what you're going to want to do is just put some glue in the area around it, and then on it, and you stick your branch in. You want to turn it over and make sure that you have it flat with the back. It just makes it stay on a little bit better if you do that. And the next part is the fun part. This is the messy part, the fun part. You're going to take your water and you're going to take your plaster cast and you're going to start covering your tree. You don't need to be too concerned about how neat it is, because remember, this is a tree. And trees have barks, and trees are not perfect. And so if your plaster cast is not exactly perfect, nothing to worry about. Okay, we've got our water here. To use a plaster cast, this is basically gauze that has plaster coating it. You're going to dip it in the water. You want to sort of straighten it out, And then what we're going to do is we're going to put it on around the tree. And I start up at about this point. You're going to smooth it out and smooth it around. You see how we're smoothing it on about and smoothing it around. And you can put it right over your supports that you have in there. Then what you want to do is take just a little bit of water on your finger and smooth it out with your finger so that you're getting the plaster cast so it doesn't look like you can see any holes. You want to smooth it so that there's no holes showing on it. And now that I have this middle piece on, I'm going to go ahead and put the lower piece on. I like to start in the middle just because it seems to hold better. And then you can put your piece on at the bottom. Again, make sure that you have it all the way around. You've smoothed it out. And after you get it all put on, again, you're going to want to take your finger and smooth it out. You're going to go all the way up your tree. Now this actually takes quite a bit of time, so you're just going to go along. When you get up to places like this, what you may want to do is just cut it, because you're going to want to have, you see how I'm going to move this way just a little bit, and then when you put it on, you can go around the corners. If it doesn't work, you can always cut it again. And you're going to smooth it out. Again, make sure that you have all your plaster cast smoothed over on the back side. That will be an important thing. Now I'm going to show you some of the parts that might be a little bit tricky. When you get to the end of a branch, what you're going to want to do, and again, make sure you're not getting too much water on your plaster cast. You can take it and kind of, squeeze it off, or wipe it off, I guess, squeegee it off. You're going to take and you're going to wrap your plaster cast around the corners. And just kind of, I don't know how else to describe it except to wrap it around and then smooth it in. Don't worry if you have some strings. I notice I have some strings here. Strings can be cut after it's dry, so don't worry about the strings. Worry about getting it smoothly around, and you can see how that covered up the corner of the edge of the tree there. Now let's look at where we have these little branches that are coming out. You're going to want to be able to actually take and not only put the plaster cast around them, but you want to bring it up so you've got half of it down here and half of it up here, and then sort of curl it around. You're going to want to also then take another piece and wrap it around that to smooth it out, to make that transition between the tree and the branch so that it's really smooth. And then I'm going ahead and going up here and going to go ahead and do one up here. So you see how we have all of this smoothing around, and then you go ahead and you do the back side so that you come up on the tree. Turn this around. You come up on the tree, down below, and move it up on the tree. And you can see how that was done on this one as well. You're going to want to make your tree look more like a tree. And how we do that is we take some really narrow strips, as you can see here, very narrow strips. You let them get really soggy, and then you're just going to kind of put them on so that you have some tree like bark, so it looks more like bark. You want them really soggy, and then smooth them out, kind of roll them up, and you can see how you can start getting so that it looks like you have tree bark. What I have found when you're doing this is you don't necessarily want to have as much tree bark up by the branches, because you don't have as thick a bark up there. So you're going to mostly put these strips down at the bottom, and again, make sure that you're moving them between where the branch branches off and you're putting them in. You can go ahead and paint your tree even while the plaster cast is drying. It's okay if it's damp. It won't make any difference. You are lucky because you actually have an official sponge brush. I'm going to just use a sponge and show you how that works. You're going to take your paint and you're going to go ahead and put it on, but you're going to start dipping it between two so that you start getting some variegated colors in it. So that as you're painting, you want to dip a little bit in some of the other colors and work them through. You do want to make sure you get your edges. Make sure you get your edges, because then you'll have your more dimensional look on it. I'm going to show you down here on the bottom, and then you continue all the way up, but I'm going to show you on the bottom here what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to make sure that you have some extra colors coming in there. You're going to then do just, there's not as much, but you're going to have a little bit of a dark color that you can also put in there and work in and out on it. And then you have a brush that you can take with the black, and you want to be real careful. If it doesn't go right, you can always paint over it. You want to put just a few little bits of the black with the brush so that you have some more color in there. And so, for example, here, I think I got a little too much black. I can always just kind of tone that down. And you're going to get a real nice bark look on your tree. This is the point where you're going to want to let it completely dry. I'm going to show you on this tree what you're going to want to do. As you can see, you're going to take the little pieces of foam board and pile them up into a little stack. You see how these are stacked here? And then you're going to put them against the bottom of the tree. That will weight it as well as give support. Then the long piece, you're going to want to go ahead and glue at the top and glue to the bottom. You take your round circle, paint it green, and then you're going to glue the support and the tree on. And you may need to just let it set for a little bit, but make sure that it's standing properly, and then you have your support on. After you get through with that comes the fun part. You get to decorate and you get to put your grass on top of your green. I use the small little flowers. You have two sizes of flowers in here. I used the big flowers that are like this for the tree, and then I used the little tiny pieces of flowers to the bottom that look sort of like dandelions. I think it's kind of cool. These little tiny ones I put in by the in front of the tree to be flowers there. You're going to want to put on your Easter eggs. Again, you just put a little dot of glue on the end and hold them on and put them on. I put the flowers at the end of the branches because I think it looked better. And when you get to your bird, you're going to want to take and remove the wire. Just pull it off, and then you can decide where you want to put your bird. You don't want to put your bird down here where you can't see it. You want to put your bird up somewhere where he's really visible because he's such a cute little blue bird of happiness. Now comes the fun part. We get to make the bunny. The bunny has 4 little parts. You have your bunny body, your bunny ears, your bunny tail, and I just lost my bunny nose. Bunny nose, there's the bunny nose. You're going to take and you're going to glue your bunny ears on. Then you're going to take and put a little dot of glue, dot of glue right there, and then you can put your bunny nose on there, and then you can put your bunny tail on the back. And you can put your little bunny there. Now you can have him from the side, but because he's kind of like, I think he looks better if you have him showing his little bunny tail the most. And then you can put your bunny on. And you are ready for your spring tree. Have fun making.